So when you're under chronic stress, the body will change. It will change. It will put weight around the middle. Why would it put weight around the middle? It's very simple. If you're under stress, one of the only real source of chronic stress necessarily was the fear of starvation. Chronically there, okay? Unless you were in like a chronic war issue or whatnot. So you would carry your calories here. Now, you know why here? Because you need to keep your hips and your shoulders free to sprint or fight for your life, right? Imagine if all the weight collected around your wrists, your neck, your ankles, your knees. You'd be like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. You know, you couldn't do anything if your life depended on it. And in fact, the shape of the body is designed to get out of a life-threatening situation. Does that make sense? So, and you can move very fast, even though if you have a lot of weight around your belly. Just look at sumos. I mean, yeah, they're huge, but they can move very, very fast in a short distance if they really need to. And the same is true for pretty much everyone. Okay? So, you also get cravings for sugar and salt. Why is that? Because if cortisol fundamentally puts a lot of sugar and access into your bloodstream, but you may have lots of sugar in your blood, but your internal organs are starving for sugar because cortisol gums up the keyhole to let sugar into your vital organs so that the sugar will bounce off, stay in the bloodstream, and go into the muscles of your arms and legs instead. Does that make sense? If a tiger's chasing you down, are you interested in digesting your food or not being digested as food? You see the difference? So it makes sense now that the sugar will bounce off because cortisol is blocking the keyhole to get into your digestive organs. The problem is that these organs are still hungry for sugar, so they're going to send signals to the brain, send food, send food, send food, and you start craving sugar. You start craving salt because there's more than just cortisol that's spit out by the adrenal glands. There's a hormone called aldosterone, which regulates your salt metabolism. If your adrenals fatigue, your salt metabolism gets all wonky, and you start to crave salt because you're losing salt. Okay? You should also know that 40% of all your sex hormones come out of your adrenal glands. And that's why low libido is a common sign of adrenal fatigue for men and women. It also explains why mostly menopause, as a very uncomfortable period in a woman's life, is found in the Western world and not in more underdeveloped countries. Because if you're under a chronic stress, your adrenal glands wear out, and then when the ovaries start to recede under menopause, the adrenal glands can't pick up the slack of the female hormones. Do you understand that? So I call it the second pair of gonads, the adrenal glands. So if your get up and go and your romantic disposition towards your partner is going down, I would first look to the adrenal glands. There's people talk about depression. It's like, well, I think a massive amount of depression is not a mental issue. It's actually physiological. That if you don't actually attend to the organs that deal with your alertness and your presence, and if you're in constant fight or flight, you're going to be depressed because you think the world is out to get you, because that's what the fight or flight system is triggered for, right? So why would you also lose focus if you're under chronic stress and have adrenal fatigue? Because very focused, attentive, detailed work requires frontal lobe activation, what makes us human, and our eyes converging in. When the adrenal glands are fired, our eyes go out to look for danger, and the frontal lobes shut down and we go into survival. You know not to approach a horse whose eyes are sideways, right? I mean, I'm not a horseman person, but that much I know. Someone back me up. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So what's a horse is like this. So look at, in the animal world, predator, prey. Right? Fish like this, sharks like that. Okay? So squirrels like this. Hawks like that. So if your eyes, you can't focus because you think it makes much more sense to sacrifice your focus for alertness and awareness if you think you're under threat. Does that make sense? Okay. So as some of you may be thinking back, reflecting on, say, school, when you're under pressure and stress, and you're just like, why can't I read? Why can't I concentrate? Why can't I focus? Why can't I remember this answer to this test? Okay? And the pressure certainly wasn't helping you. And that's why. Oh, okay. So, now, for those of you just coming in, if you guys would help just... There's stress surveys, and if anyone has any pens they wish to donate in this corner, that'd be awesome. Or pens they borrowed from the front. There's also brochures, if you can pass those up to them as well. So, here's what I do, is I help people reverse adrenal fatigue so they can reclaim their energy, normalize their body shape and their weight, and recover their health so they have the ease and joy and vitality that they want. Now, I've been actually doing the work to reverse adrenal fatigue for a while, but I didn't actually have it named as such until very recently. And I found this book by Dr. Wilson, who's actually the person who named the disease adrenal fatigue as such in 1998. He's done the 2,400 article review search on adrenal fatigue. It was called adrenal insufficiency, hypocortisolemia, and many other $10 words that some can and some cannot fit on a Scrabble board to describe the same condition. The condition was first described in the literature in 1898. He published the book in 1998.